So 2 years ago, coming to 3 years, the First Lady of the First Lady of Uganda, who is also the Minister of Education, launched what we call the Smart Africa study at the Kampala Sheraton Hotel. At the time, the First Lady asked me whether I would be back and whether I would give an account of what we do where we are. So Honorable Muyingo is here, of course in his individual capacity as the Minister of State for Higher Education, but also is here to represent the First Lady of Uganda, who also happens to be the Minister of Education. So you are welcome, Honorable Muyingo. So the reason we do the work that we do, I always like to start with that slide. The people who were at my installation at Washington University in February saw exactly that. So if you are familiar with it, you can close your eyes. But if you're not, you just pay attention. The reason that we focus on young children, at least in our work, is for one reason and one reason only. That is because in the foreseeable future, the young population in this country, the young population in Kenya, the young population in Sub-Saharan Africa is going to continue to grow. It's going to continue to grow to the extent that by 2050, we don't even see that population plateauing off, meaning stopping and then maybe coming down or leveling off. So if you are in business, one of the businesses that you should think about is investing in young people. And also, if you're in business, one other place that for you need to invest in is Sub-Saharan Africa, because this is where the biggest number of young people is going to continue to grow. For the past 15 years, I've been working in Masaka. For my colleagues from the US, I'm not from Masaka. I'm not anywhere close from Masaka. I'm from 16 kilometers out of Kampala in a place called, they now call it Wakiso district, or part of the Wero Triangle. That's where I was born. I lost my parents back in 1984. But I love the people in Wakiso because everyone always asks me, why are you working in Masaka? I said, that's where, as a researcher, the highest need for my work was needed at that particular time, and that's the place where I could have answered my research question. That's why I came here. I didn't come here because they gave me a wife. My wife is from the US. I didn't come here because I didn't come here because I have a brother or a sister. Nothing. I didn't know anyone actually. So I'm extremely grateful at this stage for me to recognize the Bishop of Masaka, because he welcomed me. I'm not Catholic, but he said, when you are serving region, doesn't matter. He gave me an office in Matale Parish, and that's where we started. It's about 30 maybe kilometers from here. And they accommodated me together with Reverend Father Kato and others. So, but the reason we came here is reflected there. In 2004, we launched our very first study. Our very first study was called SEED. I was a new doctoral, graduate who came with this English notion that let's think about a savings account for each child, and let's call that savings account saving for entrepreneurship and education. SEED. When we came and interacted with the parents after we had opened accounts for these young people, the parents said SEED means nothing to them. They said what the accounts were doing in their lives was that it was creating a SUBI in the lives of their families, it was creating a SUBI in the lives of their kids, and it was creating a SUBI in the region. So for people asking me where the word SUBI came from, I didn't create it. The parents gave me that word. They said they understood SUBI better than they understood SEED. So that's what we call really community participation in research. And they gave me the word, and now I seem like I'm genius that I came up with that word, but it's from Karisizo, where I was working. So over the years, we have worked, and we have brought these studies. We started in one district. We are now in 6 districts. But today, the study that I want to focus on is called Smart Africa. And this is the last text you are going to see, because the rest are pictures. So I'm not going to be this academic who is going to give you coefficients this and alpha this and that kind of stuff. So SMART, we are involved in several things, but one of them, we have kids in 30 primary schools in the Greater Masaka region. If you don't mind, may I call upon the teachers from those 30 schools to stand up, please? The teachers who are here and the head teachers. Okay? Yeah. So those are teachers. And the grant, I take credit, but I want to take less credit because the brains behind SMART was my friend, whom I've known for the last 15 years, and a colleague of mine who has not been able to come here because of her responsibility. They call her Dean Mary McKay. She's really the one who wrote this proposal with our help, but she's the brain behind this study. So what we are doing, we are recruiting 3,000 young people, 3,000 kids ages 8 to 13. And we are talking about issues of behavioral health, behavioral mental health, and well-being in families. We are not only talking about that, but we are training a cadre of new researchers in these areas. I'm going to retire soon, but I'll need someone to take over the baton from me and do this kind of work. And so if we have any global fellow in the room, could you kindly stand up? The people are going to take the baton from us. Thank you very much. Then, on top of that, we have other Ugandans here. Unfortunately, all my team, they refuse to stand up. I hope that when I call this time, they'll come in and at least show their faces. Others who are getting training from me, from Dr. Osge, from Dean Mary, could you kindly stand up so that the team can recognize you? Or put up your hand. Okay. So this is the work we've been doing since 2000, since the first lead launched. And so what I'm showing you there is the person next to me on the second picture on the far, it's on my right, but I think it's on your left. That's Dean Mary McKay. The person next to Dean Mary doesn't need an introduction to Ugandans, but probably to my colleagues who are from the US. That's our First Lady, Mama Janet Museveni, whom our Honorable Minister is representing. The person next, and the person next, and the person next are my colleagues with whom I've worked over the years. I just want to put recognition that Mr. Simba Machendezi, who is the Country Director for Child Fund, has also been extremely instrumental in organizing this conference. Then, so during that meeting, we assured everyone that when we start our work on child health, child behavioral health, and then we do the global training, we'll always come back and report where we are. That's why we are back here today. We are back so that we can give you an account of how we have been moving, where we are now, and where we are headed. So what you see on the far left-hand side of mine, we were also honored to have a representative from the ambassador of the US, because all our work is funded by the US government. So, and then what you see right there, other participants in these, the partners we have are from the University of Nairobi. My colleagues here, those are the ones you see in the picture. So, in a way, what I'm trying to show you is it's a very collaborative effort. It's not a top-down, but it's really we are building communities here. We are working with Ugandans, we are working with Kenyans, we are working with Ghanaians. So these are some of the organizations in Uganda that we work with, and those are some of the countries where Smart Africa is taking place. These are some of the junior faculty, these are some of the junior fellows who didn't stand up, but there they were giving us a presentation on where they have come from. And what you see here is when we are in the schools, we sit outside with the parents, with the kids, and we go through some of the issues that we will be able to explain later. We travel to Ghana. That's what you see on my far left-hand side. That's our Ghana team. South Africans have been here talking about the theory of change. And we have met with the person that I don't need to introduce, especially in front of the Honorable Minister and the Bishop. That's our, but others I will introduce her, Honorable Kadaga, who is the Speaker of Parliament. So as we do this work, we are not only interested in the implementation, we are interested in the use. That's why we are here now. We are talking to what we call the end users of our programs. But we are also interested in influencing policy, what we learn, We want to take it to the parliament and tell them, think about issues A, B, C, D around child behavioral health. Uganda doesn't have, quote unquote, really a functional mental health bill. And we are trying to give input in that mental health bill so that people can use it with less stigma. And that's why I was meeting with the minister, with the Speaker of Parliament, who has been extremely receptive. Then, these are some of the global fellows that we have here. Maji, I didn't you didn't stand when these three stood, but you are here. I think Maji is here. So Maji is from Ethiopia. So we are not only focused on people in Uganda, but we are focused on a whole lot of Sub-Saharan African young researchers. Oh, it's not moving? Okay, so these are all, most of those are Ugandans that we are training. Some of them are doing their PhDs, like Mr. William Biansi. Others just came back from their masters, like Dr. Apollo Chivumbi and Jennifer. Others are doing their masters and PhDs, like Rajibab, who is from Egypt. So we have all kinds of, we are really trying to, because of the numbers I showed you earlier, I know I went over 5 minutes, but because of the numbers I showed you earlier, we are training a new cadre of researchers who are going to take over from Fred, or who are going to work with Fred. Because tomorrow I won't be here, so we need to think about successors. And those are some of the people, including William and Miriam Kassa, who actually runs our operations in this country. So I'm about to end. I'll just end with a few slides. Lots of people fund this work, primarily NIH. We are extremely grateful. So kindly, when you make a call to NIH or the US government, or when you talk to Trump, tell him that whatever you do, but we are very grateful for the support that the American people are giving us. We are also very grateful to Rakahe Sanses program with whom we work, Reach the Youth Uganda, the Diocese of Masaka, Catholic Diocese, and then several people, including my colleague here. So this takes a village. It takes more than one individual to do these kinds of work. That's the team we work with. So they are young, enthusiastic, and that's why when I called them, none of them was in the room. You know why? Because they are busy making sure that everything is going well. And so I'll stop here, but I'll end by telling you, I know that Honorable Chinja has just also come in, so we are very honored. It's rare. It's not very common to be an event and have two honorable ministers who work either directly with education or with young people. And so, Honorable Chinji, Nachuala, you are very welcome. And so, I'll stop here, but this is where I want to end. It will take a village for us to see the changes that we need in Africa. It will take a village for us to raise the kids, and it will take a village for us to get the demographic dividend out of that high demographics that I showed you at the beginning. Thank you so much.